What is up, everybody? Eagles win 14-13. Breaking down top takeaways, reaction, player of the game. Eagles in 3 words or less and more. Joining me, he is Shane Haff at Shane Haff NFL on X. What's up, Shane?
What's up, Dives? I must say this was a much more enjoyable second half than first half.
Shocking. Literally our second half adjustments during our halftime show. Thank you, everyone that tuned in. It's time for Tanner and McKee to step in and shine, and man, he did. We're going to break it all down. Also joining us, he is the Ryan Reese. Go give him a shout-out on X at Philly Sports PSA. What's up, Ryan?
Not much, man. Ready to talk a little Eagles, Patriots. It was a good game, and like you said, it picked up in that second half, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of takeaways in this one. You look at Keely Ringo, you look at Quintin Mitchell, man. I'm so excited for what we're going to see moving forward with those two in the secondary. I thought the linebackers were terrific top to bottom. We're going to break it down, but look at these numbers for Warren Sharp on Kenny Picket tonight. 11 first-half completions, 0.7 air yards per completion, 17 total dropbacks, 4 sacks taken, 0.48 EPA per dropback. You look at the Patriots with Joe Milton drafting him in like the 6th round, who would have been a terrific backup for Jalen Hurts. Shane, what's your takeaway?
That Kenny Pickett stinks. I mean, like this thought crossed my mind during the game, and I started thinking about how I would rank quarterbacks that appeared in this game. And I mean, Kenny Pickett's last. Like Will Grier, when he came in for one drive, made a better throw than Kenny Pickett made the whole game. I would take Joe Milton over him. I mean, I'd sure as heck take Drake May or Jacoby Brissett over him. I'd take Bailey Zappi over him. Kenny Pickett stinks, man. I was, at halftime, I'm sitting here saying that, they're playing Keon White, and the Eagles are not playing good offensive linemen. And so, if Kenny Pickett had to get into a regular season game with the starting offensive line and stuff, he wouldn't look that bad. I mean, the Steelers have winning records with Kenny Pickett, and the Eagles have a better roster. But it's just a night and day difference when you see Tanner McKee throw the ball. And that's who I want to see. Tanner McKee was the second best quarterback on this roster last year, and he didn't get the number 2 job. He's the second best quarterback on this roster this year, too, and he's got to get the job. I don't care what they traded for Pickett. McKee should be QB2.
We have Chris chiming in saying Pickett should be cut after this game. Even Will Hold My Beer Greer finished with 3 of 5 passing for 35 yards. He did take a sack. I don't know why he left. I missed that, but Tanner McKee came back in and won the Eagles the game. But Ryan, what's your quick reaction takeaway?
Listen, I think people are maybe overreacting to the Pickett thing just a little bit. Yes, obviously, we look at the Vikings and we want to see a trade happen there, and that's again kind of what we assumed Pickett was brought in here for. But listen, he was still 11 for 13. He's still figuring out this offense. It's still new to him. I have seen him do things in this league as a starter in real games that still tells me that he should be our number 2. So the whole Tanner McKee thing is a great story. He's great. He's awesome against 2.
Really?
I'm sorry. I'm not.
Really?
I'm not giving Tanner McKee the QB2.
I feel like we watched just 2 different games.
You're right.
Two different worlds of football.
That
throw he made in the middle of the field, that was like 20-yard gain.
That was great.
Kenny Pickett can't make that throw in his sleep, dude. I'm sorry, bro. It's not even close. It's night and day. It's a different football.
I see it differently. I do. I personally, I do. Sorry. I'm not giving up on the Kenny Pickett train. I'm not trading him for absolutely no effing reason. He can be successful in this league. He's shown it. Tanner McKee has shown it against third stringers.
That's the takeaway is, how did the Steelers win with this guy? It's the other way around.
I mean,
I don't get it.
You might be right, but it still wins. Wins are wins.
John says, grab your pitchforks for Picket. Guys, we're going to break it all down position by position. We'll probably lead off with the offense, of course. I wanted the Eagles to draft Milton in the 5th. He was my ultimate boomer bust pick in last year's draft. I'm excited for him, man. And the Eagles kind of made him look silly. Joe Milton, 2 of 7, 20 yards passing, 3 carries for 9 yards. The Eagles defense really showed up in the second half. We're going to talk about that as well. Talk about Steen's injury. It looks like it was an ankle injury. He got rolled up there on that play. He was carted to the locker room. We don't know anything just yet. Dave or Spuds talked about how they're hopeful about next week. We'll see. Hopefully it's precautionary. I am concerned about that injury, Ryan, because the Eagles cannot afford any offensive line depth. Whereas week 1 of the preseason, the offensive line was here. I think it was here today. It wasn't as crisp as we saw in the first week against Baltimore.
I agree. I think I'd be a lot more alarmed and concerned if Steen was the front runner for the right guard spot. Whereas the fact that I truly believe that Mekhi Becton is our guy at right guard. Steen can provide depth not only at guard, but can theoretically still swap out to tackle. Hopefully it's not kind of a long-term thing and he can kind of return, when we need him, if God forbid we should need him. So I'm not as concerned, but I get what you're saying. The depth already is not as deep as I think we'd like it to be. This certainly takes a little wrinkle into that.
Yeah. Kudos to Mekhi Becton real quick. The average height of the starting offensive line is 6'6" and 338 pounds. Good luck, NFL. Good luck trying to compete with that. I can't wait to see what. Shane, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Sorry, I was so upset by the things Ryan was saying. I just couldn't take it. No, we're getting the first rain that we've got since literally the 4th of July, and unfortunately in Oklahoma you don't get rain without ridiculous wind and lightning, and my power flickered and it killed my internet. But we're good now. If I disappear again, though, it's either because Ryan's being ridiculous or it's the power thing again. So you never know.
Wow, that's hurtful. Hurtful.
Nick Foles is better than Kenny Pickett right now. I love these comments, guys. Keep them coming. We'll put them up on here. We're about to get into this Eagles offense. We have Joseph in the house. Let's go Birds. Wasn't Steve grabbed by the ankle? But yeah. Not that stuff's scary. Ringo should have been starting last season. Interesting decision at CB2 this year. That is a great take. I did not like the play in the first half where he got beat deep, and then literally 5 seconds later, he gets up and is doing his best Jalen Mills impression, acting like he had anything to do with that play. He was lucky. He was straight lucky. The ground made the wide receiver. I think it was Javon Baker, who is a great.
Listen, that's a cornerback staple. Is standing up and peacocking it out, no matter what you did or didn't do. That's just what you do. Unfortunately, that's
I will say on that one, I'll have to see the all 22 view, but I'm pretty certain he was expecting middle of the field safety help, so he was playing low and outside. I think it was less him getting beat and more expecting a safety that didn't get depth. I'm not sure though, but I saw some negative comments about Kelee Ringo on Twitter, and I thought he played really well again. I could be wrong. I don't think he got beat so much on that one play, but even if he did, it's by a step, and it still requires a perfect throw and a tough catch, and it didn't come together. So there was one other one that was similar, like a guy got a step on him, but I never just saw a guy running free behind him or anything. I thought he played really well again.
Yeah, even the times Kelee Ringo is getting beat so far through 2 games, It's better throws and better catches. Like I have zero issues with Kelee Ringo, and I think the debate about Kelee Ringo and Isaiah Rodgers is just as interesting as Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee. I don't understand. Like, you heard Spuds at the end of this game praising Kenny Pickett. Oh, they are so excited about him as their number 2 quarterback. I don't even know what they're watching. Like, Kelee Ringo has earned it, and we're gonna have that as a discussion on later shows. But he's been terrific. Williams says wasn't enough linebacker play for Ryan, so Shane had to leave. Linebackers were terrific. We're gonna get into defense in just a little bit. Pickett is still better than Marcus Mariota, and pretty sure I am better than Kenny Pickett. Trott is so good. He was awesome. So many positives. Evan says, how do y'all see this the secondary shaking out Slay, Rodgers, Ringo, Q, DeJean, CJ, GJ? Like, I mean, it's the versatility, like you said, is really fun. And I'll let Shane take it off while I get my daughter to sleep real quick.
Yeah, I mean, Avonte Maddox, major stock up for him playing safety again.
Yeah.
Like, comes up with that pick in the end zone. I think they had him on like the stick nod route. The tight end had him to the inside, and he had good coverage, but a tight end should win that against Avonte if the throw's on time and on target. But Brissett came to it late, and it turned into a scramble drill, and Maddox made a great play. I am very in on Avonte Maddox being a safety for this team. I think he's simply too good of a player when healthy, which has been the issue in his career. Obviously, he's been banged up. Obviously, he looked terrible coming back last year, and I think it's pretty clear that he was just trying to rush back because he's looked good in training camp. He's looked good in the preseason. Avonte Maddox is too good to not make this roster, but I don't see a pathway for him playing corner. I would put him at safety. Like he's my safety 3 right now if I'm doing this now. How Cooper DeJean figures into that. How Sidney Brown figures in. I mean, I love Sidney Brown. Avonte Maddox is a better player right now, and you're trying to go win a Super Bowl. But I've major stock up on Avonte Maddox, major stock down on James Bradbury, making that transition to safety. He's got to go. It's not going to work out as too many talented defensive backs.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I when he made that pick, I honestly thought, all right, well, looks like he just made the roster because I honestly thought he was kind of on the bubble because, again, they have so many talented corners, safeties, where, yes, you can move him to safety and he could kind of fit in there. But you also have Bradbury doing that. And again, one of those two needed to kind of make a play to show that they deserve to be there. And, with the amount of corners they have, I just thought, hey, listen, Maddox made that play. It was a bad read by Brissett, and he took advantage of it. And that's what good vets do. And man, I just wish Maddox could stay healthy. He seems to have a lot of turf toe type injuries. And, I really just hope, man, we can get a full season of Avonte because I do love him. But I just, again, I think he needs to prove he needs to be on this roster.
Dives, you're muted.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, Bradbury scares the hell out of me, guys. Like, my gut says he's probably on this roster, and he just can't tackle. Like you saw in the first half, is not good, man. Like he cannot be on that football field. He's going to take snaps away from somebody. I mean, even like Tristan McCollum's out there making plays. That is a concern. You think Ringo over Rodgers? If I had to call it right now, Ryan,
let's go.
Ringo is my CB2. Ringo is my CB2. That doesn't mean like he's getting the dominant amount of snaps over Rodgers. I think there's going to be a solid rotation, just like linebacker. It's just going to flow and be fluid week to week to week. Shane, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I want it to be Ringo. I think the fact they're playing Ringo a lot more than they are Rodgers tells me it's going to be Rodgers, at least to start out. And, from what we've seen from Ringo, hopefully they're just making the right call, and Rodgers has been that much better in practice. I mean, I'm not there, so I can't comment on that. Although, circling back to the Kenny Pickett, Tanner McKee thing, maybe their judgment shouldn't be entirely trusted either. But I think what they're telling me with how the reps are shaking out is that it's going to be Rodgers. But it's a great problem to have if you've got a lot of guys that you're comfortable with putting out there.
Williams says, I'm encouraged by the overall defensive side of the ball. Richie says, Tanner equals Shane Falco. Pickett equals the quarterback that crossed the picket line in the replacements. I loved it. I love how Tanner McKee took a bunch of Walmart people and gave the Eagles a W tonight. It was awesome. Paulie says, really enjoyed Kendall Milton's goal to go plays and the 2-point conversion. Good to see Kendall Milton, who's had back-to-back really solid preseasons. Solid. And I mean, yeah, he's been solid. I hope they stash him on the practice squad. Maybe we'll talk about practice squad at the end of the show. Or maybe I'll give guys that I think should be on the squad on my final thoughts. I think Maddox could thrive as a safety. That's what he's going to be on this team. Bradbury could be a decision, a lot of money to cut for sure. Curious why Nolan Smith.
He's a lot of money to keep too. It's like $100,000 difference this year, cutting him or keeping him. So really, the money shouldn't play a role. It's getting the best 53 on the roster.
Excited to see Cooper DeJean. He is the wild card of this defense. I'm just ecstatic to see how Vic Fangio utilizes him. We haven't heard Eli Rick's name out there in quite some time. He is definitely on the out, right? Like, there's no way he's making this roster.
Seems like it. You're right.
Which sucks too, because I think he's good. I think Josh Jobe struggled a bit at times tonight as well. I'm a big Josh Jobes guy. Justin Simmons, too old. Like that linebacker they got last year. Walmart people. Love the aggressive choice to go for 2 points there by Syrian. I love it, man. The Eagles have played a lot of passive football teams the last 2 weeks. It's preseason. Go for it. What's the difference? Kellen Moore's play calls in those situations. The one play, Shane, where we had, I think it was it Will Shipley on the 2-point conversion?
On the 2-point conversion where they come out in pistol with, I believe it was 2 wide receivers to the bottom of the screen, and they had one up at the top, and they ran motion basically to get, it wasn't Shipley, but they sent a receiver in motion across the formation and basically just had the receiver at the top of the screen push vertically to create a natural rub. And I mean, easy throw out to the flat. It wasn't Shipley. It was number 82, whoever 82 is.
Anaya Smith.
Okay.
Yeah, he caught that. It's about the only
All right, let's get into the offense here. There it is. Tanner McKee, we already touched on him. 15 of 19, 140 yards, 97.4 passer rating. Kenny Pickett, 11 of 13 for 67 yards, an average of 5.2. He took sacks again. I mean, if you watched our halftime show, I basically read the book on Kenny Pickett. I have no interest in going any further. If he's not throwing a check down, he's staring at the pressure and getting sacked. He can't move the ball more than 10 yards. He has a noodle arm. We've talked about this the last 2 weeks. The dude is cooked. I thought Will Grier gave the Eagles some nice snaps. I mean, clearly had chemistry with some guys. Do we need to spend any more time on the quarterbacks, or should we move to the running backs?
Nah, let's keep going.
Let's keep it rolling. For the Eagles running backs, Will Shipley had 5 carries for 15 yards, mostly doing his damage through the air. Since we're talking about running backs, the one screen he caught where it was like a 17-yard gain was the play of the first half. It was a rough first half for the offense. Outside of that, I mean, Kendall Milton had a touchdown. Shane, did anybody catch your attention?
No, not really. I mean, the run after the catch was really nice by Shipley on that one screen pass, but I really didn't notice a whole lot from any of the running backs, at least watching on the broadcast. I really don't have a lot to say about running backs.
Where I feel like last week, obviously, I think the offensive line played a much better game in week 1 than this week. But, yeah, let's roll on to receivers. Joseph Ngata looked excellent tonight. He finished 5 catches for 88 yards. Some of the catches he had on the sideline was terrific. I don't know if it was a better catch or a better throw. But EJ Jenkins, that tight end 3 role is up for grabs. If there was anyone that kind of made some noise, maybe it was EJ Jenkins. It sucked to see him get hurt there at the end of this game. Ryan, any thoughts on the Eagles receivers?
Yeah, listen, Ngata seems to be the latest in the Eagles receiver that plays great in the preseason, but unfortunately doesn't ever make the team. I unfortunately I don't ever see a scenario where he makes this team. And no matter what he does in the preseason, he looked great. He had a good preseason. He was making catches. I just don't see it. As far
That
as
was a big boy catch right there. That was
it was
man's catch.
But again, you have to tailor it to the whether it's second, third, a team.
They're gonna make a move for a wide receiver 3 at some point.
I mean, they have to. They clearly have to. They have a need, and what they have gotten so far has not been something that they can rely on. And unfortunately, Johnny Wilson didn't play because he was in concussion protocol, so we didn't really get to see him make any catches. As far as EJ Jenkins, I actually liked his game, and there's an easier path for him to make this team than there is for Ngata. There's nobody in the tight end room that I feel great about outside of Dallas Goedert. So, go good on EJ Jenkins, because there was a couple of times where I was like, Jenkins, who the hell is Jenkins? I was like, oh yeah, EJ Jenkins. And he was making play. So good for him. Yeah, I mean,
EJ Jenkins.
I love it. I was like, is that Randy Moss? Get out of here.
Preseason Randy Moss.
Any thoughts on the receivers today?
Yeah, I mean, I thought is it Ngata or Nada? I don't know if you pronounce the G, but
I thought it was Nada, but they were saying Ngata.
Yeah.
Ngata.
Okay. I thought he had a good game, made a couple catches. Ryan's right though. Like, I don't see a path for him to make the roster. When you talk about the glut of defensive backs you're going to try to keep, and the Eagles are probably only going to keep 5 wide receivers, and AJ and Avonte are 2. Johnny Wilson's making this roster. Probably one of John Ross or Paris Campbell, maybe both, or maybe they go get another guy, but I just don't see. Oh, Britton Covey. Britton Covey's going to make this roster as a return guy / receiver. So there's not room for a guy like Ngata, even though I thought he had some impressive catches. I thought there were some moments John Ross looked good, and then he leaves with a concussion. But I mean, he had a step on Christian Gonzalez, who I think is I don't know. I think he's a really good cornerback. I had him rated really highly last year. He played really well for like 4 games and then had that season-ending injury. But I think he's really good. Ross had a step on him, and Picket just overthrew it. And he had another nice catch on a slant route. So I was real down on John Ross last week. I thought for what, he had, the opportunities he had tonight, I thought he did an okay job. I'm still not comfortable with him as wide receiver 3. But, hopefully between him and Paris Campbell and Johnny Wilson, there's semi-competency there.
Did you see Greg Ward get signed this week?
He did.
I did not.
Yeah, he did. Everybody always made fun of me for my love for Greg Ward, but here we are, still out there in the NFL. Are we comfortable with Paris Campbell? I don't even know if he makes his team.
Nope.
It's crazy.
He had a grip. On wide receiver 3, and then he just let it slip away.
Yep. Would love the Birds to find and Isaiah Likely type as tight end 2.
Okay.
Trade Eli Ricks. We talked about this last week. Could they trade the depth
Tyler Lockett
at corner for a better piece, that wide receiver or tight end?
I've been hearing a lot of Adam Thielen
Yeah.
noise. I don't know what the truth to that is, but
they're going to make a move at some point. Ross would have a better game if you looked over the correct shoulder earlier in the game. I agree. It was slightly overthrown, but I don't like John Ross gives me too many Jalen Reagor vibes where he doesn't make plays on the ball. Ironically, yeah, they played him today. But let's roll on to the defense, who was the star of tonight's game. Nakobe Dean leading the way, Shane. 5 tackles. I love the way Vic Fangio is employing the linebackers so far this preseason. It's refreshing. We haven't seen it, this level of athleticism and speed from the Eagles linebackers in quite some time. We all know that's what they're most effective at. But Dean had some moments. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I thought Dean played really well. He chased down, or he immediately read a wide receiver screen and got out and made a good tackle. Shout out to Tristan McCollum too on that play, diving down, diagnosed it quick, forced the guy back into Nakobe Dean. But Nakobe made a good read and tackle on that one. There was another play or two where he shot a gap like immediately in the run game, and neither time was he able to bring the guy down. But I thought he did a really good job. I thought he shined, and I thought Trotter was the same way. Trotter had a few really good plays in the run game, and again, didn't bring the guy down, but got penetration, disruption. So I really liked what I saw from both of those guys, and it feels strange to have some confidence in the Eagles linebackers, but I kind of feel like I do.
What world is this, Shane? Is this real life? Ryan, any thoughts on the linebackers?
Yeah, listen, they have by far exceeded my expectations. That's for sure. I to be perfectly honest, I didn't have a lot. So doing anything really, we'll do that. But yeah, Dean Trot has certainly been a nice surprise in this camp, this preseason. And, combine that with the fact that Bond, again, kind of maybe hasn't lived up to what our expectations are. I know the general person probably might not understand Bond in the general scheme of things, but it's nice to know that some of the other guys are doing their thing, and you hope that combined with that and Devin White, we might actually have a few linebackers.
Yeah, it's good. Like, it's been a really good week in general for the linebackers overall, not just the pass rush, which I don't know how many times they got to the Patriots quarterbacks, but the pass rush was solid. But the linebackers in the joint practices and today, it's been a nice turnaround compared to week 1. Zack Blantern, I thought, was terrific. He only had 2 tackles, but I thought he had some really nice moments. By far, like leaps and bounds better than his performance against the Baltimore Ravens. Does anybody else deserve a shout out on the Eagles defense?
I mentioned Tristan McCollum earlier. I think he's going to push for a depth spot on this roster because he's showed up in both preseason games and played well. But yeah, other than that, I wish I would have seen a little more Quintin Mitchell. I feel like I didn't notice him very much. I'm going to be looking for him on all 22. I don't think he played a ton. I didn't really see the ball go his way much, so I want to take a look at him again.
We talked about that at halftime. I wasn't sure if the Patriots were literally like scared to throw the ball his way, or he just didn't play as much. That is a really great one. Thomas Booker had big moments. He only got credited for 1 sack, but I know he's involved in the other one by Terrell Lewis. Nolan Smith had a sack in the second half, but still struggled. I thought, for me, Bryce Huff's flashes in run defense were really impressive. That's what I'm excited to look at tomorrow. That's an area that I am low-key concerned about. And I thought Bryce Huff, if he can bring that level of, stopping the run on a consistent basis, that is going to be huge for this Eagles defense. I don't know how much he played, not much, just in the first half, but he was all over the place. And I thought Moro Jomo had really good moments in this one, not just, clogging lanes, but, rushing the passer. This is a guy that I think can really be DT4 for this team. And I was excited to see Moro Jomo finally have his moment. I was expecting it week 1 against the Ravens. It didn't really happen, but tonight it did.
Yeah, that made me smile. That's for sure. I think everybody here understands the importance of the depth of most positions, but I know we have talked about more Jomo as far as being that DT4 and really kind of growing into the Milton Williams role, if you will. As we kind of assume Williams might not be here next year, and man, seeing him play out there really kind of gives you hope that he might be able to do that.
Yep. All right. Let's roll to some comments, and then we'll get to some quick segments before we head out. Williams says, I'm excited for Devin White. He seems motivated despite the hesitancy and hate that he's gotten on Twitter. Nolan Smith, as bad as people talk about him, 2.5 sacks the last 3 games. The ball's not going a CB's way is a good thing. We haven't seen him in a while. Nolan Smith had a sack. I'm concerned with edge depth. I think it's an under-discussed hole for this team. And who's the ideal wide receiver 3 trade target? That is a great question.
That's a great question.
Anybody have thoughts on that?
I don't have an immediate thought. I'd have to think about it.
Yeah. I mean,
we'll touch on that at the end of the show. Give me a minute.
There's a lot of options.
All right, let's get to our Eagles player of the game. Eagles player of the game, Ryan. This is your first post-game show. Lead us off, man.
You're going to go with this guy?
Of course I am.
Well, listen, in typical fashion, I love my linebackers. And I know there might be some more, obvious choices or whatnot. But, man, Nakobe Dean just absolutely made me smile from ear to ear with the game that he had, and really gave me the hope that, again, this linebacker that we drafted in the 3rd round, and we all got excited that we drafted him later than he should have been, and it's given you some hope. And if he can stay healthy, I truly believe that he can be a great linebacker for us. And it's got to start somewhere, and this was a great game for him. And to me, it's always been a focus for me, linebackers, and so I'm going to go Nakobe Dean for my player of the game.
That's a good one. What about you, Shane?
I'm going to go Tanner McKee. Going into halftime, I was in a place of depression, not knowing how I could make it through the second half of this preseason game. And enter Tanner McKee, who on his first drive completed back-to-back passes over 10 yards. And Kenny Pickett hasn't done one pass over 10 yards this year. He breathed life into the second half. So give me Tanner McKee. In all seriousness, hyperbole aside, he made some really good throws. That one that it was out of bounds, the receiver didn't get his second foot down that could have iced the game. That was a beautiful throw, dropping that between a flat and deep zone. He had a nice layered throw over the middle. I thought he made some really good throws. So Tanner McKee, definitely pushing for QB2, and I thought he played really well tonight.
I'm glad you took him. I would have taken him if he went a different direction. But the guy I want to talk about is E.J. Jenkins. E.J. Jenkins had, 5 catches for 47 yards. I thought he was involved in some really good moments of this game. Shane, you touched on that one throw to the sideline. That was really nice. But the one play where it was in the first half, it was a 3rd and short. It was an amazing Kellen Moore play. It was orbit motion. They ran a fake inside zone to Will Shipley and ran EJ Jenkins in the flat for a first down. I thought his chemistry with Tanner McKee was excellent. That throw on 3rd and 3 on the out route was awesome. And then, of course, the one-handed grab for 18 yards on the sideline. EJ Jenkins at that tight end 3 role. I don't know what they're going to do at wide receiver 3, but tight end is just as much as in the air right now. So give me EJ Jenkins as player of the game, as a guy that hopefully he's healthy. Hopefully the foot is okay and he can continue to make noise week 3 of the preseason. We have a hot take. Nolan Smith is a bust relative to draft position. Hassan Reddick's success body type is the exception to the rule, not the standard. Smith is just too small. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm not in the habit of calling a guy a bust after a rookie season under an incompetent coaching staff, but it's concerning. Even his sack tonight, he won inside, but he didn't throw a counter move. He just got chipped inside by the running back, and I don't think the tackle was expecting it. So even his sack tonight was kind of a fluke thing. I think he's better as an edge setter in the run game than he is, which is strange. Like, a guy that small shouldn't be able to set the edge in the run game, and I think he does a good job of that.
It's better, yeah.
Yeah, he's just got to learn a pass rush move.
Yep. All right, let's get to – go ahead, Ron.
No, I was just going to say, I just think given the limited snaps he got last year and, everything that he's kind of dealing with this year, I just think people need to give him some time. Like, I think he has the skill set. I think he could be dominant. I think he really could be somebody that's wrecking up quarterbacks. But I think he might be one of those guys that just takes a little longer than most. So I'm okay, and I'm patient. So I'm willing to give him the time.
All right, let's get to team grades for tonight. A to F. Shane, lead us off, man. How would you grade tonight's performance?
I'll give it like a B minus. Overall, like B minus performance.
This is worse than last week?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, at least McKee was way better than last week. The first half, the offense was atrocious. I didn't have as many exciting moments from like Ringo and stuff that I had last week. So I'd say I'll bump it up to a B. I'll give it a B overall.
I made you think. Ryan, how would you grade tonight's performance?
I would say a B plus. I thought it was, a lot of different positions played really solid. And again, it's not necessarily the outcome, which great to always win. But I think it's more or less of seeing certain players do certain things. And I think for the most part, we got a lot of that tonight. We saw a lot of players do better than we expected. And there's hope. And that's really what preseason is about, is hope. Hope for the regular season, hope for the future for these young players. And I was definitely hopeful after tonight.
I agree. I'm higher on this game than last week. Like when we were on Birds of the Round Table, like we talked about the one thing I wanted to see from this game. It was better linebacker play. I wanted to see hope, optimism from this fluid linebacker rotation that we're going to see all season long, whether it was Nakobe Dean or Trot or Zach Bond or Devin White. Like, I'm hopeful for this Eagles linebacker position for the first time in a long time. And that's a take. That's a take because it's been a long time where the Eagles have just been picked apart repeatedly over the recent years. So it's a B plus. The fact that we're seeing, I guess it is the Patriots, but it is very promising. So give me a B plus for this thing. Now we're going to get to Eagles game, 3 words or less. Guys, if you're watching this live, let us know in the comment section, what is your explanation of the Eagles game in 3 words or less? Let's get it. Eagles game in 3 words or less. I'm going last in this one. I didn't even think about this yet. Shane.
So I'll go over to Twitter, and you guys every week after the game go over to the Eagles Pin Pull Twitter account at Eagles Pin Pull. We'll put up a tweet, and you guys can drop your 3 words on there, and we will try to get those out. The only one that we got today, new thing we're starting up here, and of course you guys drop them here in the comments live on YouTube too. But we got a link to a South Park clip, which is not necessarily a show that I've watched. But the caption is "They killed Kenny," so maybe one of you guys can give me the context on that. But that's our 3 words or less from Twitter. It came from Johnny on Twitter. We've also got some good ones here in the comments. Josh B says worries about defense. Sam says send Picket home. We've got a defense looks better from William. So William and Josh need to get together and balance this out. We've got a worried about the defense, and the defense looks better. We've got from HHHH, Kenny Pickett sucks. It's a lot of H's. Kenny Pickett induces a lot of Z's. But then we've got from Martez Andrews, coaching is excellent. So there's some 3 words. Again, we want this to be your guys' segment, so be sure you go and do that right after the game. On Twitter, you can also do it here if you're watching the live show. But I got a kick out of the worries about the defense, and the defense looks better back to back.
That's all about perspective.
Shane, do you have a Eagles in 3 words or less?
Shoot, I'm always looking at the other ones. I forget to come up with one myself. Ryan, give me yours. I'll steal one. I'll come up with one while you're doing it.
Linebackers look great.
Yeah, that works. I'll allow it. All right.
It's been a while since I've thought that and said that.
All right, I've got mine. Motion for 2.
Nice.
Motion for 2. So Kellen Moore getting that motion play for the game-winning 2-point conversion. I love to see that.
I'll say, no, I'm not going to. The one I just had off my head is kind of similar to yours. I'm not going to do that.
Sorry.
Kenny Pickett sucks is a really good one. If you follow me on Twitter, I've been killing Kenny Pickett.
You have.
It's
a damn shame.
I'll say go Nakobe go. I am obviously one of his biggest fans. This is a huge week for the Nakobe Dean fan club. Whether it was joint practices or tonight, you saw it all week. First team reps. We'll see what happens. I think, again, it's going to be a fluid situation with Zack Blantern and Devin White, with Trot Jr. and Nakobe Dean going in and out of the first team. I'm excited to see how it plays out. I'm excited to see what it looks like in week 10 and week 14 and week 18 in the playoffs. That's a good one. That's a really good one. But we talked about that last week. So give me go Nakobe go as a guy we really need to kind of pick it up. So, yeah, Ryan.
Can I add a second one of
sure.
Leave Kenny alone. Leave him alone.
He stinks. All right. That about wraps it up. Let's go around the horn. Final thoughts on this one. Shane, you're up, man.
Yeah, I'll answer Williams. I've had a minute to think about it now. I'll answer Williams' question about the ideal trade target for my final thought. I don't know if they would do it. But if they would do it, Darius Slayton from the Giants would be a great wide receiver 3 target. You think about the Giants, not really a contender, not even close to a contender, but they drafted Malik Neighbors. They went out and they got Allen Robinson. They have Wan'Dale Robinson and Jalen Hyatt, who are younger guys. And then they've got Darius Slayton, who's on the last year of a deal. He would save him. I looked up his contract. He'd save him like $3.5 million if they got rid of him. And then he's gone the year after that anyways. He's never had an 800-yard season in New York. I think he's a solid receiver. He can play inside. He can play outside. I'd be really excited if the Eagles went and threw a day 3 pick at the Giants for Darius Slayton. I think that'd be a great move.
Oh my God. I'm not going to say that out loud. Ryan, Shane, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, just Eagles Pin Pull Network. Make sure you guys are following on Twitter at Eagles Pin Pull. You can go interact with the 3 words post there after the game. Also follow the podcast feed wherever you stream your podcasts. Like I said, we're going to have 6 shows a week for you guys. The draft show starts next week, so we'll be at our full 6 shows a week. Really excited to go through this football season with you guys.
I love how, like, I made a tweet of Tanner McKee saying he's got an elite arm and, like, he's just 26 years old. And people actually took that literally. Anyway, what a world. Ryan, final thoughts, plugs, time to it.
Yeah, listen, it's great to see decent linebacker play. You know me, anybody who knows me knows that I have been screaming for linebackers for decades. And listen, I think the 2 that we have that are kind of, again, young, trying to build themselves, Nakobe Dean and Trot Jr., I think have a potential to be solid linebackers. Maybe not, this year, maybe not these starting guys, but I think eventually there's hope. And honestly, hope is the only thing that I've been wanting for the linebackers. So, but yeah, to reiterate what Shane said, Eagles Pin Pull, please make sure you support. Give it a follow, give it a like, all the other crazy things that social media tells you to do. Just blindly do it. Eagles Pin Pull. That's all you need to know. And tell your friends, and then tell those friends to tell their friends. But yeah, you can kind of find me all over the place. I'll be, on the Eagles Pin Pull doing shows with these guys, and I'm around. So hit me up.
We have 865 people watching right now. Wherever you're watching, make sure you like this video. Help us get this content out. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, everyone, for commenting. We'll be back, of course, Tuesday night for Birds of the Round Table to break down more Eagles versus Patriots, all 22, highlight reels, winners and losers, stock watch, all that kind of fun stuff. He is, one last time, at Shane Half NFL, Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. I am Dibes. For Shane, for Ryan, for myself, we'll catch you on the next one. Stay awesome, everyone.